Hey guys, how are you? Welcome into a Tuesday morning edition of the Daily Juice Podcast. My name is Matt Perrault with you every single morning here, thanks to BettingPros.com. Our offer from BetMGM, the $10 bet to win $150. Promo code Juice150 for new accounts with BetMGM or BetMGM.com. Always being brought to you by our great friends at BettingPros on their YouTube channel for the video and wherever you get your audio podcasts. Okay, so we started off well yesterday. We get the Western Michigan easy walk, -7. They blow out Nevada. You had to feel for Nevada, right? They kicked off at 8:30 Pacific time. The kids were asleep. They were down 17-3 like in 2 seconds. Western can score, and the MAC had been bad, so they were playing for some, conference pride, but then no Carson Strong, and 5 wideouts opted out, and their coach quit. I mean, kind of a perfect storm there for Western Michigan. I couldn't understand why people were making cases for Nevada. And I'm like, well, the Broncos' run defense stinks. I'm like, okay, so they'll score a little bit. And they did score a little bit on the ground. All the big plays, all the big pass plays, everything went the Broncos' way, and they waltzed to a very easy victory. Only fans for Western Michigan were there in Detroit. Nobody from Nevada was making that trek to maybe friends and family, but that was a good win. So we started off up a half a unit, and we're like, okay, this is good. And then everything fell apart. Alvin Kamara goes 2.5 yards under the rushing prop we bet of over 54.5. And Alvin Kamara finished with, I believe, 15 receiving yards. We played over 24.5. I don't think Alvin Kamara is healthy. He had numerous opportunities to bounce runs to the outside. If you go back and watch that film, I went back and watched a bunch of the first half runs. He had plenty of opportunities to run, and he just ran straight into the line like he was trying to get tackled. I don't think he is healthy. Or if he's not healthy, he doesn't want to be there anymore. He's just done. He's had it with this season. He wants to be done because it was weird. And then he had one very ferocious run on 3rd and 25 where he got up to the 52-yard mark. And then he had one more catch where if he had caught the ball, bad throw by Ian Book, but if he had caught the ball, he had about 30 yards to run, and we would have gotten the passing prop. So both those props missed. So that wiped out the Western Michigan bet. Then it all came down to the teaser. We were right to tease it up, but the under was the right play. Even at 36, 37, the under was the right play. No offense to speak of whatsoever. Just horrible offense by Ian Book. I was way wrong. And frankly, Sean Payton did him no favors. I don't really understand. If you've got a quarterback who is athletic and he can run the ball, there weren't any real design runs for him. There weren't any option runs for him. There weren't any easy, simple throws. No screen passes to Alvin Kamara. I don't get what Sean Payton's game plan was, to let him drop back and throw the ball 40 times and you think he's going to win? His second pass, or was his first pass, gets tipped, deflected, returned for a pick 6. So I thought we'd lose the bet based on the pick 6, but then everything just kind of fell apart. So easy win for the Dolphins, who have now won 7 straight, who are the hottest team in the NFL. Give Brian Flores a ton of credit. I still don't like Tua, and the Saints defense I thought played really hard until the offense kind of broke their back. But the Saints are not going to win more than 9.5, so that was a double whammy for us there. So that's going to be a loss on the over 9.5 win total we bet for the Saints, which kind of stinks. There's our first loss. It might be our only loss. The Falcons need to win one more game, iffy, and we need only one more win for the Steelers. If the Steelers go under, we'll go 4-2 on the NFL futures, and it will be a profitable bet. If the Falcons win 2 games, we'll go 5-1, and it'll be really profitable. So we're already 3-0 sitting there right now, and then so the Steelers will be 4, Falcons could be 5, but the Saints, unfortunately, will not go over 9.5 wins, so that's an L with the New Orleans Saints to go over. They would have gotten there. They were 5-2. If Jameis Winston stays healthy, I am 100% positive that the Saints get there. They get to 10 wins, but too many injuries, COVID, and everything else, just a mess. They needed to win out to get to 10. If they won out, they would have made the playoffs, but thank goodness that team should not make the playoffs. No, not good. So down 1.1 units on the day. Not great. Losing the winning streak for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday comes to an end. So the 4-day run ends. We end up with a loss, and we're back here on a Tuesday. Okay, I'm not touching the NBA. I might bet NBA player props. Maybe. If I do, I'll add it in the Discord channel like always, bettingpros.com/chat, or the link underneath me here on YouTube like always. So I might put a couple of NBA player props in there before tip-off, but like literally right before tip-off. I do have 2 bowl bets. And again, I'm betting half a unit on these bowl games because of the COVID outs and what happens and players who we think are going to be in there who are not going to be in there. But there's 4 games tomorrow. Let's start with the First Responders Bowl in Dallas, Texas. It's a 3:15 Eastern Time kick between Air Force and Louisville. If you remember, the first college football bet we made this year was Ole Miss against Louisville. One of the last bowl bets of the year will be Air Force over Louisville. I'm going to take the 1 point here, but if you want to go straight money line, I don't mind it. So let's get into this a little bit. Air Force is 7-4-1 against the number this season. Louisville is 6-6. Air Force is 6-3-1 over the last 10. Louisville is 6-4. 2-2-1 for Air Force against the number, 2-3 for Louisville. But when the numbers start to get broken down, this is where I really like Air Force's offense up against this Louisville defense, which I do not like. Louisville defense giving up 29 points per game. If you remember, they got gashed earlier in the year against Ole Miss. This is not an Ole Miss type of offense, but Air Force scores 30 points per game. Air Force runs the ball 5.2 yards per run, and they have 338 yards per game on the ground. That's number 1 in the nation. They run the ball 64 times a game, okay? Louisville gives up 163 yards on the ground. That's 73rd. And it's basically going to come down to if Malik Cunningham, their quarterback, can just be all worldly and do everything, okay, Louisville can win this game. He'll be the best athlete on the field. But I think Air Force, I love taking military academies in bowl games. We took Army. They won but didn't cover. This is now a dog for Air Force. We're taking them at +1 here. And I just think this team has a chance to pound in a bowl game, and it's not fun playing triple option teams in bowl games. It's just not, okay? They're hard, they're disciplined, they're difficult to handle. You have to play your right schemes. Sure, Louisville will have better athletes, but I'm going to take the number 1 running attack in the country here. I'm going to take a team that's really good on 3rd down. I'm going to take a team that's really good on 4th down. Air Force converts 75% of the time on 4th down this year. They score 80% of the time in the red zone, and Louisville gives up scores in the red zone 89% of the time. When Air Force gets to the red zone, they're scoring. Now, look, Louisville scores 32 points per game, but Air Force's defense has been good enough. Now, their record, you can say, oh, my, who they play, but only give up 19.5 points per game. Okay, 19.5 points per game defensively. They're better than people think. They're 9-3. Okay, I get it. You look at their schedule's not great. Utah State, Wyoming, Boise State, San Diego State, Army, Nevada, UNLV. I get all that. Okay, but man, the ACC Louisville record's not exactly a world beater either. Okay, they lost to Clemson by 6. That's impressive. They lost by 31 points to Kentucky in their last home game. They beat Duke, okay, scored a bunch of points against Duke, but I think in a bowl game setting, I'm going to take a military academy, half a unit, Air Force +1 in the First Responders Bowl, 3:15 kickoff there between Louisville and Air Force. So for the other half a unit, we're going to go to the Holiday Bowl, and we're going to go real boring and real basic. The total for this game is 60. Okay, you have UCLA against NC State. You've got a team that is 7-5, both teams, 7-5 to the over so far here on the year. 4-1 to the over for UCLA over their last 5. NC State is 7-3 to the over their last 10. NC State has gone to the over in their last 3 games. Wake, Syracuse, and North Carolina, 65, 49.5, and 61.5. All 3 of those games going over. UCLA has gone over in 4 of their last 5 games. Did not go over against Cal. It was a 42-14 win. 58.5 was the total. It was under by 2.5 points, but in the previous games, USC went over by 28 points. Colorado went over by 7 points. Utah went over by 8, and Oregon went over by 2.5 points. 62.5, 60, 57, 66.5. UCLA is a really good second half team. They score a lot of points in the second half. NC State loves to start fast. They love putting up big points, throwing the football. I mean, this is a fun offense. This might be one of the more fun bowl games of the entire bowl season. NC State averages 32 points per game. UCLA averages 36.5 points per game. Chip Kelly's not going anywhere, so you don't have that distraction to worry about. Both teams defensively are okay. They're not great. UCLA loves to run the ball. We need big plays in the running game from UCLA. We're going to get big plays at NC State in the passing attack. We know that. They throw for 288.5 yards per game. They sling it. UCLA gives up 260 yards through the air per game. That's not good. On the other side, UCLA runs the ball for 226 yards per game. NC State's not bad, but they still give up 217 yards per game. That's not outstanding in a running attack. 6.1 yards per rush is pretty good, but UCLA averages 8.1 yards per rush. I'm going to take UCLA to run the football with all their running backs and get a lot of points going here. I lean towards UCLA to win this game, but I like over 60 more. I just think these are the games that NC State plays in, back and forth battles. Veteran team in UCLA. It's in San Diego, so you know there's going to be a ton of Bruin fans making the drive down for this game. It's a night game, neutral site in San Diego, but should be a really fun atmosphere for this bowl game. And historically speaking, betting the over in holiday bowls has just been kind of a thing. So I think this is the right type of team to put in there to go over 60, half a unit, over 60, UCLA and NC State in the Holiday Bowl. All right. Those are my two plays for today. Again, player props potentially in the NBA, in, out, COVID, whatnot. Maybe if I do it, it'll be in the Discord channel, but it's a Tuesday, and we're heading towards the playoffs, which I hope we get to bet the playoffs, man. I really do. Got a big betting weekend. We got Saturday, Sunday, big games to get into. So Tuesday, Wednesday, I do tend to go light. So just two bets for you. First Responders Bowl, we're going Air Force +1. Holiday Bowl, we're going over 60, both for a half a unit. My name is Matt Perrault. Follow me on Twitter @SportsTalkMatt. Each and every morning, it's the Daily Juice Podcast. Always being brought to you by BetMGM.